used to make a lot of money with the podcast. We used to make six figures. You sell them this little bridge with all the different little steps to get here, and then they feel like they can walk across it. Is that helpful?
Super helpful. Yeah, super
Awesome,
helpful.
dude. This is Steven, a content creator and rock climbing coach with tens of thousands of followers across YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok. He's built a solid audience base, but now he wants to go ahead and actually launch a course, teach his expertise, and monetize his audience so that he can hit consistent 10K months. So in this business breakdown, I'm going to be showing Steven exactly how to launch and scale his online course in a way that ensures that he hits that 10K per month consistently. And I'll be using the exact same systems and processes myself and my business partner Harris did to make 20K a month, which is 3,000 subscribers, and eventually the same process that allowed us to scale to six figures a month within that same year. And if you don't know who I am, my name is Ottavio Zabini, and I've worked with over 200 educational content creators and experts to help them go ahead and actually monetize their expertise using social media and scale to six figures a year and beyond. So let's get into it. All right, so Steven, first want to make sure we're aligned right on the current situation that you're in. And so the current business model is that we used to make a lot of money with the podcast. We used to make six figures with getting sponsors and Patreon from the podcast. And then now we're just selling some physical products, making some money from the podcast, not what we were doing before. And then also collecting email addresses for what we're going to be speaking about now, which is potentially launching a course. That's kind of like the current business model then. Is that correct?
Spot on. It's perfect. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Ideal clients, passionate rock climbers, 25 to 45 years old, middle upper class who want to improve at rock climbing with limited time or limited access to cutting edge gyms or outdoor climbing areas. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
cool. And then your goal, hit 10K a month, launch a course, and transition to be more of like a thought leader rather than like a podcaster who's just featuring other people, right? People
Yep.
watch for you rather than for others. Cool. And then
Yep.
kind of like the biggest problems right now is you find it hard to consistently produce both YouTube videos and podcasts. And then you kind of relying on these big guests and you don't want to have to do that. And then you want to be able to create content that grows itself and is strong enough to actually attract customers and convert. Yeah.
Yes, especially on YouTube. All my biggest videos are just the most famous people on YouTube, and I want to put out content myself that draws in the right audience. Yeah.
Makes sense. Okay, cool. And then additional info as well, like you've been doing the podcast for a long time. It's been making some good money, and now you want to pivot the business model to being more, like you said, a thought leader, coach, selling an online course, so that you don't just have to rely on doing the podcast.
Exactly. Yeah. More self-reliant in general. Yep.
Cool. Okay. So yeah, we'll go through my solutions. Main three things is number one, like just shift your some of the content and some of your mindset around as well around the content because I think you already have like a lot more than you think that you have and you're like a lot closer to getting to where you want to be than you think. And then we'll talk about like repackaging the offer to make sure it's something that really cuts through the noise, isn't like a generic type offer. And then finally going through like a step-by-step launch strategy for you to just implement.
Perfect.
Um, Cool. All right. Awesome. First thing, man, and this can be like I think a good discussion. Probably the most important thing, although it's like, not as like tactical and practical to implement, is that like looking at your audience, man, like you could 100% already go ahead and launch this course right now. The first reason I say that is because the first time I looked at your channel, I already realized that because one of the things that you mentioned to me, man, is like you're worried about having to rely on these guests, right, that you bring in, and that like that content won't do well if you're not bringing them in, right? But these videos that you posted here, like they haven't done terribly, right? They've done
Hmm.
pretty average, right? And maybe this one, and it's not so much like these two. These two are like training type videos. They haven't done terribly at all, right? This is huge. Like if these had like gotten 10 times less the views, sure, okay, like that's something you can be worried about. But in my opinion, man, if you'd posted just a bunch more of these, I think they would have consistently done well, and you could have already like immediately switched into like thought leader, that type of thing. Because these are getting 9.2K views, 3.6K views. I took the comments on all of these plus the transcript and the video, ran it through AI, and just asked, okay, like, what does this audience want? Not like, do they want a course? Because like sometimes you'll like tell it something and it'll just like please you by saying like yes, it wants this. It's like, what do they want, right? And like they went straight into like yes, this is primed for a course. Um, they want these things, right? Structured roadmap, customization, beyond training plans, all that good stuff. A true like kind of one-stop shop, one-stop system, right? Kind of like what we have with CTH with Harris. Um, and then these are some of the things that they're asking about, right? That make like us feel that like there's potential here to launch a course for sure, right? If 9,000 people are watching your finger training routine, right? Like there's big potential there, right? It means like there's interest in this for sure, and they want more, right? Hence why they're commenting and asking for extra things, comparing, like asking detailed technical questions. That's a huge thing already. So I wouldn't be so, bottom line, I wouldn't be so worried, man, about like, oh, it's gonna be tough like transitioning from this. Because to be honest, man, I think if you had just posted more content like this and like this, you could have already made that transition easily, and you're good. Yeah. Does
Okay.
that make sense?
Awesome. Yeah, it does.
Okay, cool. That's probably like the biggest thing, man. Like you've got like a lot more already than you think. Like when we launched with Harrison, he did 20K. He had like 3,000 subscribers and was getting like 1,000 views a video. Had maybe like 40K on Instagram, I think, and was getting like similar engagement to you, right? So that's a lot less of an audience because YouTube is a lot more powerful than short form Instagram. And we managed to do 20K, like, and we were getting, and you're educational type of content, right? Like people are learning to like watching to learn. So you definitely have potential there. Yeah.
Awesome.
Cool. Okay. With that being said, then all we need to actually do is then make sure that we've got a solid offer and then a launch plan, right? So the first thing though is I noticed a lot in kind of like when you were talking about when you wanted to launch the course, kind of sell it as like a library of videos for 395, and like sure, we could make it a little bit more general, not just make it like very, very specific dream outcome, that type of thing. But we do want to make sure that there is differentiation there, right? We want to make sure that it's like they almost can't compare you to any other course out there because that's how we do it with ZTH. Like there's just no comparable program to what we have. At this point, there's probably like a bunch of people who have copied, but they don't have the same audience as us. So it doesn't really matter. But like when we first launched, especially, there was just no program out there that could compete on it. It's just something completely different. So that way you're not getting people in like price-based thinking of like whose course should I buy? Is it Stevens or John's or Mark's or whoever, whatever. It's like Stevens course is like literally, and it's not even a course. Steven's like the thing he's selling is just exactly what I need, right? And you're competing more on the outcomes side of things, right? Because that obviously decreases perceived risk and does a bunch of things. Like it's harder for people to copy as well. And there's kind of like the whole bridge selling analogy, which I use a lot. So if you look at like everything we have, for example, we don't just have the player accelerator with like all this training, right? There's weekly coaching. There's contacts at professional clubs so that when you do get good, you have a way to reach out, right? There's interviews with professional players so you can learn like what they did, right? So that you can again do better on when you're there on the day to go sign for a pro team or something. There's the ultimate trial day guide for when you're at the tryout so you can do better for the pro academy so you're more likely to sign and again achieve the dream outcome, right? So we really thought of like all of the little steps and made sure we included all of them. And that allows us to differentiate because then it's like, okay, well, when I'm like, how do I make sure I do really well when I'm there? Well, you can, live like a pro before you go pro. You can get the behind the scenes of a pro academy, right? You can get an injury recovery program. So like prevention, so that you never make sure you never get injured. You can get, nutrition plan to make sure you know how to eat. So every single little issue that they might face is solved. And then that way you're kind of like if they're here, you're creating a little bridge that has every single little step of the way here, rather than just them being here and you being like, hey, I have a course. And then it's like you're buying a course and it's like, okay, I'm going to compare the courses to the other courses out there. Rather than doing that, no, there's like like you sell them this little bridge with all the different little steps to get here, and then they feel like they can walk across it. And it's so important then that you have like every single little step in there, right? And you really dive deep in the market research and know everything they want, rather than just like, hey, I'm just going to give them like a library of videos for 395. Because if you position it like that, if they remotely smell that that's the way that it is, it's
Mm.
going to be globbed into this commoditized bucket. And yes, sure, you'll make sales, but it's not going to allow you to like consistently long term grow this thing and hit those 10K months without having to go like stupidly viral.
Yeah, that all makes sense. Yeah. And yeah, I mean, this is all great. It's very aligned with the product I have in my head. I've had a hard time articulating what I want to build, but I want to take all the best advice from 5+ years of recording interviews with the world's best climbers, but then synthesize it all. So it's not just going to be like me sharing clips from them. It's going to be me saying like, I talked to these 10 different people, who all are the best at this, and they all had
Yeah.
different advice, but here's what it all has in common, and here's how you can apply that to your situation and use it to,
Yeah.
make training decisions, things like that.
Yeah, yeah, I think that's a like it's a strong angle to go with like that. Like, I've spoken to 250 plus experts over 5 years. And then if you combine that with this of like, okay, so here's what the top 10 experts within the, climbing nutrition niche say about like, how you should eat or something like that. And then you put that together. So use that as like a like fuel to show the credibility when you're creating these different like uh packaging it all together, right? But
Hmm.
main thing is like it's super worth it not being lazy when putting together this, because if you do this well, you only have to do it once. Like I did this for ZTH like th almost 3 years ago at this point, and it's still the same offer stack because we just like I spent days just thinking about like because obviously you don't want to have like a million different things either. You got to just really pick like what are the core things that we can put together and how do we package them? What do we make the main offer? What do we make the little bonuses that would just allow it to just like completely stand out and be like the exact bridge that they need and make people feel like I need this to get there. Yeah.
And do your offers, like, do they correlate one to one with how people actually go through the course? Like each offer is a different module within your soccer course or football course?
We have that. Yeah. We do have that, but it's not 100% necessary. So
Okay.
I can open that up actually.
I think that's been like a mental sticking point for me because I can like envision how I want to organize the course. But yeah,
But you
now I'm
don't want to
realizing
start with
like,
that. Yeah, you don't want to
yeah.
start with how you would want to do it. You start with like what do they want and put that in there, right? But yeah, we
Mm,
do have that. We have the player accelerator, the interviews, the trial day guide, the contacts, behind the scenes nutrition, and then we even have like extra stuff as well. But we broke it down like that. You don't have to though. The main thing is that they know that that information is going to be in there. That's it.
yeah.
Make sense? So you don't
Yep.
have to have all that info in there.
Okay.
Sorry, not that you don't have to have all that info in there. You don't have to put it exactly how you're like
Right.
marketing it, but you just got to make sure all the info is actually in there that they're buying, so they don't feel like, hey, I bought this thing, but there's nothing about it, you know?
Yep.
We just did
Yep.
it
That
that way
makes
because
sense.
it feels simple, you know, and we're just like, let's
Yep.
build this product one by one. Cool. Okay. Now, in terms of that, what I was thinking as well, like, since we're going through this pretty quickly, I can take a look at your offer
Okay.
as well. Um, So you put together this offer sheet using kind of our structure, and the main dream outcome: unlock your climbing potential. Probably similar to football accelerator, become a sign-up player. My ideal client have a range of specific timelines. I don't think it should be more specific than this, but I'd be happy to walk this and explore my ideas. Yeah, I got it. The thing is, it might seem like it's not specific, but it actually is because we talk about become the best player on your team or standout player, but then we also give a very specific outcome, which is signing
Mm,
for a pro academy. And that's like a big thing that but it's just kind of like they first need to do this in
hmm
order to then do this. So don't be fooled by thinking that like if we put like unlock your full potential in football, that it would do the same
mm,
because that is a little bit too broad. There's like spectrums to it, right? It's not like broad or not broad. And sure, best player on your team again though, but like best player on your team, it's already like that's kind of the same for everyone. What is the best player on their team? They know what that looks like for them, right? And
yeah.
so you want to kind of make it like that, like they can unlock your potential. What does that look like? What does their potential look like? You want
Well, I'm
to
having,
transition it to a little bit more outcome of like achieving a
yeah.
certain thing. Make sense?
Yeah, it does make sense, but I've had a really hard time with this. I've been thinking about this for weeks, and the climbing's interesting in that like a lot of amateur climbers who aren't trying to go pro, who aren't on teams, they're not competing. They're so passionate, like it's such an obsessive sport that people will hire coaches, pay for programs and things to just become better. And when I
Yeah.
was doing my market research, I mean, like becoming better a lot, like everybody wanted to improve, everybody had long-term goals, but they were wildly different. Like some of them were specific levels within climbing, but then there's all these different disciplines, styles of climbing. Some of them have like a dream route or climb they want to do. Some of them just want to become like really well-rounded and master all the techniques. So I don't know, like, do you have any advice on how to make that a little more specific and make
Yeah.
the offer a little more punchy?
The thing is, man, that's the case with every niche. Like within soccer, football, whatever you want to call it, it was the same thing, right? It's like one kid's like, oh, I want to one day play for my national team. Oh, I want to win the trophy at the tournament that I'm going next year for my under 15 tournament or whatever. I want to make my dad proud at the school friendly game. Or I want to finally make the bench team for my like local B team, right? Like there's so many different goals, but at the end of the day, your job as because yes, you're coming at this from like an educator perspective, but you're also really like with this, you're coming at it as a from a perspective of a marketer and someone who's going to sell and grow this business. So your job as a marketer in this situation is to recognize that underlying, and again, to know your audience better than they know themselves and recognize what is the underlying thing that they want, right? Because again, the kids have like a million different goals, right? But we know that, okay, most of them, the main thing, like if we say this sentence, like yeah, that's pretty much the dream, right? Being that best player on your team, signing for that for a pro academy, like 95% of our audience, that's kind of like if you said that, yes, they have individual goals. They have like the thing that I just said, like signing for the team or this or that. But like the main thing, like if you put this in front of them, like, yeah, that would be a dream, right? No matter where they're at, and if they have goals before that or if they have goals after that. So it's your job there to figure out based on that market research, okay, what is that like underlying main thing that they want to achieve? Because and it's not going to be absolutely perfect, and a lot of people might be talking about all these different goals and they do, but it's like what is the underlying thing after having done all that research, like what are most people like, okay, if you put this goal, this outcome in front of them, it's like yeah, that's the main thing, you know.
Hmm. Yeah, okay. That gives me some ideas. I'll riff on that.
Yeah, and try
Okay.
different things out, send them through and you'll see what kind of starts to hit, but like again, it can be stronger than just unlock your potential, like unlock your potential, it'll still work, but like it can you can really differentiate if you get more specific there because again probably just like within the football and soccer niche when we first started there probably aren't really well marketed rock climbing courses out there just like
Hmm.
based on the niche, so there's huge opportunities to just come in and tear it up because like you just said man, like people are spending a lot of money on coaching and like they're usually like more, you know, if you're doing rock climbing you're probably from like a more um wealthier neighborhood, like you're willing to invest, you have more disposable income, like there's big potential here. There's hundreds of thousands of dollars. Why can't you be the one to take that? You know, like with 20,000 subscribers here, 60,000 followers here, if you can just tap into the market like no one's ever done before, why can't your course do 100K a month? You know, like with the audience that you're getting, man, like even, you know, like if you're consistently posting these, you grow 10,000 views a video, right? A small percentage of that, that's what 100 people of a video convert. Like you start to get serious numbers, and then there's potential in that, especially because the people spend a lot of money within your niche. So it's worth taking that time to go deep and figure that out. So we don't just settle for like, here's a library of videos so you unlock your potential. Because yeah, that can
Yeah.
make you some money, but if you really dive deep and figure it out, like for years, you can make a bunch of money from it, right? Like we
Yeah.
did.
Yep.
Cool.
Yep. I hear you.
Okay. It does it's a long process. The market research it might feel sometimes like really do I have to go this deep, but it's like it's the core fundamental of everything. If you get it right, like everything becomes so much easier.
Well, I'm already getting what you're saying. Like even extending it to like, adding on to it, like unlock your climbing potential and send your dream climbs or something like that, or like become the best climber you can be and
It
send your dream
starts to it
project.
starts to paint this picture in people's minds of like, oh yeah,
Yeah.
that's the like that's the goal, you know? And then you
Yeah.
start to see everything differently within your marketing. But okay, so I would definitely spend some time going through that. I mean, there's even all this other things that you go through here, but we pretty much covered it on what we went through. I
Hmm.
would also like yeah, hit on the money back guarantee, like because when you have like a really good that's one thing that helped us a lot. When you have a really good dream outcome and it's like like people understand that you understand them better than they even understand themselves, and then you slap on a really strong guarantee too like we have, it really works well. So I would take a look at that, at like how you could, it's not
Make it
so
more
much the
specific.
guarantee itself but how can you like name it or put it together. Like what we did is we had like a 30-day unconditional money back guarantee that really just put people's fears to bay, and then we also had this crazy that no one ever took up and no one ever even spoke about and is probably illegal, like guarantee where it's like if in a year you haven't like moved, like you haven't genuinely moved up a level in football or soccer or whatever, or like for example for you it's like if in a year you haven't like you know sent your dream climb or something like that, but basically we did if you haven't moved up a level, signed for a pro academy or whatever, then we'll pay you $1,000 and Harris will train you one-on-one for free until you do, you know. And it
Wow.
was just like that's so crazy, but it just makes like someone watching being like they're so confident. I just like, yeah, this is like, they just understand me so well and they're so confident can help. Like, I'm gonna get this, you know what I mean? And then, like, once they, that's the thing, once they buy, like, they get in and they like the program and then they forget about like these crazy outcomes that you're talking about and all these things. They're just like, as long as your program's actually good, which we have like a sick one that we put together, then people are happy, right? It's kind of like thumbnails with YouTube. Like you have some crazy thumbnails. Like you look at Mr. Beast thumbnails, like they're like kind of insane. People click on them not expecting it to actually be that. As long as the video's good, they're happy. You know what I mean? It's kind of like the
Hmm.
same thing. You need to hook people, get people in because it's so competitive out here, you know?
Yeah, I'm glad you said that. I think I've been hung up on that a little bit. Like how literal is the offer? How literal do I need to be when I deliver on the offer? Because I thought about making it really specific, like climb the next grade within 6 months, blah blah blah. But as a climber, I'm like, I don't know. I would be a little allergic to that because it just feels like such a gimmicky or clickbaity sort of promise, you know?
Yeah.
Um,
Well, there's also a
yeah,
differentiation between like the guarantee and the main dream outcome, right? That's one thing to be important, like to
yeah.
important to remember is there's the guarantee here and then there's the dream outcome, like what we were talking about before. So there's also like that, and both of them are kind of promises, but one is like a lot less one that like you need to hold yourself up to, whereas the guarantee, it's like that's literally the baseline you're guaranteeing.
So,
You know
for
what I mean?
example, like you guys aren't stressed about every single person that buys your course signs for a pro academy. Like that doesn't matter. It's just like convince them
You
that it's
can't
a
take
good course.
responsibility for people's success, right? Like
Right.
ultimately, for them to sign for a program, they need to go through. I know 100%. We know, like if they go through the process, like they're 100% in a way better position to actually sign for a pro academy. And if 30 days in, or at any point, honestly, if they like think the program sucks and they hate it, they want a refund, we give it to them. That's not a problem. But because we just make it so good and there's a community and all these things, people just want to stay there, right? The main thing is we know you need to like give people what they want in order to actually give them what they need, right? What they need is a
Yeah.
community, they need accountability, they need the proper training programs, all these things. But what they want is just like, oh, in 30 days you're going to be at a pro academy, right? Or like, we have a bit of a younger audience, so it's a bit more like flashy. Yours is probably a little bit older. It's rock climbing. You don't have to be as like crazy outcome based in terms of like you talking about like in 30 days you're going to go up a grade or something like that within rock climbing. But it's you still need those elements. Those elements of marketing still work no matter who you are.
Hmm.
Make
Okay.
sense?
Yep. Yeah, that's great.
Okay, cool. Now, in terms of the launch plan, for example, I made up like a core angle, which is like, add oops, I don't know what I did here. Add a full grade in 12 weeks or something like that. Just like, just
Mm,
as an example to get you to start thinking about something around that. But anyways, in terms of the launch plan, the flow would be, in terms of the funnel, is the first thing we need to put together, would be something real simple. So I wouldn't want you like to like this is another thing that I think a lot of people make a mistake on is just like having a course and then just telling people like, hey, during YouTube videos, like, hey, go buy my course type of thing. I don't really like that. I prefer to have something like a VSL value video, which is basically just like another video, and they're used to watching your videos anyway. And you position as more like a free masterclass type of thing. And that way you can pitch it as much as you want, and no one really cares because it's a free thing anyway. And as long as you make it good, like it's a free thing, but it works really well to like educate and convince people to buy for those like mid-ticket courses, like what you have, like around $500, that type of thing. Then from their sales page checkout, kind of like the funnel that we have, right? So in
hmm.
terms of the launch plan, it would be putting all of that together first around the offer and then moving on. Does that make sense in terms of the funnel?
Yeah, totally. So like right now I already have a free training PDF so I can keep promoting that to gather emails. And then as soon as I want to create a free masterclass video. So as soon as I have that, then pivot everything to push that. And that's
Yeah.
the
And
start
you'll
of the
still
funnel.
collect emails. That's the nice part.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. And those
And
emails will be valuable.
that's before I build the actual course.
Yeah. That's what I would say as well. That's a big thing. Like you
Wow.
do want to pre-launch it because then people come in and they'll tell you what they actually want. And then you take the time to actually build the course and you've got a proof of concept. You're not building something that you're not sure people even want. Because
Hmm.
ultimately, that's the thing, man. Like, you don't know if people want it. The last thing you want is to build something and then, like, people don't really want it. You spend all this time. Much rather, like, you sell a bunch of people, somehow fumble it so that, like, you didn't build it or whatever, and you just refund everyone. And it's way better because you got the proof of concept and you just, like, said, hey, guys, I took too long. Sorry. Rather than, like, you spending 3 months of your life building something, no one wants it. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
the
Okay.
second scenario is not going to happen because people are going to respect it. You know that like you're building something great for them, and you just with proper planning, like it's completely fine.
What are some of the elements of a good masterclass video?
Well, that we cover more in depth on a lot of other videos. There's even like recordings
Okay.
within the program going through that.
Okay.
That
Cool.
that goes through exactly how to build it out. So if you go to monetization funnels, value video funnel, we go through the whole
Perfect.
thing, like scripting the value video, delivery, editing, all that stuff. Yeah,
Okay. Yep.
cool. All right. So in terms of that like in terms of the next steps with the funnel after you've built out the funnel assets, the launch plan, sorry. Once you've built out the funnel assets, we then want to go to like probably an early bird email list launch at like a discount, maybe like 295 just for like 7 days for the people on your email list. So just before this, I would also do a push to get people on your email list signing up for the free thing that you got to give away. That's a cool way to like already prove the concept a little bit more quietly. You kind of like can make some money, prove the concept, feel good without even like mentioning anything on your social media. And if this goes really badly, then you can also already like quickly to make some pivots, as opposed to like doing a super loud launch and then, yeah, it going badly. So,
Hmm.
but if you do everything else right, it's not going to go badly, and you're going to get a good amount of people converting, right? So I kind of mapped out a flow here, just like tease stuff, announce it, give them some reminders, and then open the cards, right?
And this is like an email series that you're sending out to
Yeah,
the list I already have to
yeah,
start them on the funnel. So I'm promoting the masterclass video.
yeah. I would do that alongside with also like eventually after a day or two of doing that, like actually just pushing them straight to buy in the program because you're assuming
Okay.
they've already watched the masterclass. Yeah.
Okay. And how are like
Then,
do you typically say like, okay, this is early bird, it's going to be
yeah,
available. Like how much time
exactly.
should I give myself to
With
build
low
the
ticket
thing?
stuff, man, you definitely want to. Oh, are you wait, sorry. Are you talking about whether you tell them it's early bird for the email list, or are you talking about like, telling them that you haven't built out the product?
Yeah, telling them I haven't built out the product or like it's going to be available in, this many weeks.
Oh,
What's
that's fine. You just kind of have some soft messaging around that. You just let
okay.
people know. Yeah, it's
Okay.
just like
Okay.
just let people know. People don't really care that much. Like worst case, you get some people come in, it's like, oh, where's the product? And then you just like, hey, like it said here and here and here, like we're building it out. You're gonna get it soon. That's why you got it for half the price. And they're like, oh,
Mm-hmm.
okay.
Okay.
So yeah.
Cool.
Truth is, man, with some courses, dude, like I think the stats is like 50% of people don't even like log in after they buy it.
Wow.
Yeah,
Crazy.
it's ridiculous. I mean, I say it's ridiculous when like I think there's probably like 10 courses in my life that I've bought and I've never even logged in. So I am guilty of that. Like
I've
it's
done yeah, I've done that too. I've like spent a week and then I just never come back to it. Yeah.
It happens, man. It happens. You didn't even know we had a value video breakdown here.
Well, I'm
You know
still
what I mean?
like, yeah. I just haven't made it through everything yet. I'm still going
No, I
deep into
understand.
market
It's why
research,
we're
but
going through this, man. It makes sense.
yeah.
But yeah, so I wouldn't worry too much about that. It's natural to worry about it, but like people really like, as long as you just have a couple places that you mention it in the checkout, in the buy now section, you're good. Once that goes well, I would then plan like a 10 to 14 day loud launch and just go all channels in sync. Emails, because more people are gonna have signed up to the emails. Big blast. YouTube, I would drop something like because you got that video that did well here.
Hmm.
I would do something along the lines of this, and then maybe make this either the masterclass or this have a CTA to a masterclass. And then I would actually post the masterclass as well and pin that on the channel, link it on all the descriptions, have it on YouTube if you're comfortable with it, and then do some supporting vids as well during that 14-day period. So you really like pump out some content there, make sure it hits. Um, Instagram, TikTok, use stories, daily countdowns, behind the scenes, polls, that type of thing. And then I would also post like little reels and clips with a CTA to the masterclass. If you can get Instagram reels like going off, like it's gonna really help because right now we don't have much engagement. We do have the followers, but we don't have much engagement. And it's just because I think these are like more low effort type. Like if you actually spend time creating the reels itself rather than just like reposting and chopping stuff up, it's gonna be worth it because you got a solid audience.
Okay.
Make sense?
Hmm.
And
Yep.
then a small thing, go live the day before the cart closes. So one thing that we found works really well, man, with like lower ticket stuff like this is just having like a cart open, cart closed type of thing. It just creates urgency, works really well to get people to buy. It's just like a primal thing in humans, just to buy because it's gonna go away and that type of thing. So I would definitely have that. And then I think the podcast is gonna be big as well, man. You talk about like something big coming. On those, you do like a special launch episode, like do it, make it more about you, like transition into being like that thought leader, right? Tell your story, the system, push the free masterclass. Um, yeah, do like Q&As talking about it, CTAs during it, during the launch itself. I think that's going to be big to sending people there. Um, in terms of bonuses and scarcity, what I just spoke about, I would do that with the email list. Give them like their own little sale where they can get it for like 295, which is a sale on the sale. You know what I mean? Let's say the regular price is like 600, 395 is the launch bonus, 295 for the email list, just to really make them feel special. Do stuff like fast action bonuses. They work extremely well. I've bought a lot of stuff just because like it's like first 20 buyers get a one-on-one or something like that. So
Mm,
like something like this, I think could help a lot. All these little things, man, they make such a difference. Like they can double sales. Like you adding a cart plus adding something like this and then saying the cart's going to close, like just those two things could like double your sales with low tickets. It's incredible. So
wow.
definitely use that. Yeah, then maybe like a cart close bonus for just the people that buy now, because you can say you're going to sell it in future and that you have like plans to do that. But say like you've got some special bonuses that are only for people who buy during this launch, and then you close it for good.
Mm,
So I then wrote out kind of like the timeline of what that would look like roughly in terms of, like the different things are going to happen. You have podcast plus YouTube, got the early bird, tease it, and then go from there. And then just some rough, sorry, conversion targets as well in terms of like what you could expect from the 400 subs on your email lists, from YouTube, if you take like the educational content that you put, if we're like averaging around there, if you do that, what that could look like as well. Instagram, TikTok. Potentially. I don't see much potential there, but it could be. And then I think podcasts would be huge. How many listeners do you have?
it varies, but uh, like 5 to 10,000 consistent, and sometimes 20,000 depending on the episode.
Yeah, yeah. This
Yeah.
is supposed, I don't know why I put 1,000. This is supposed to be say 10,000. Um, but yeah, that could be big. Um, for sure. I think the
Hmm.
podcast, because people who are watching a full podcast, they're primed for buying info. So
Hmm.
that's what like an example, again, I'll share this with you, but what an example launch could look like. Main things is number one, add some urgency, scarcity through the cart launch, and then maybe something like a special bonus just for that. Make sure the offer is differentiated and we take time to think and go deep and figure out like what the true market and know them better than like they even know themselves and what the real market sentiment and where they want to get to are. And then make sure that when we put it together, that if there's really a bridge, there's every single little thing that you want. Aim to have like in your mind, man, like three bonuses minimum. You probably want to have like 5 to 7, but at least three of them are things that you generally have never seen sold anywhere else in any other rock climbing program. That's when
Mm,
you start to know like you're on the right path. Like for example, what we have with
mm.
the personal contacts and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
All right. Awesome, man. Any extra questions or anything you want to discuss?
Uh, um, I'm sure I'll think of a bunch of stuff as soon as we get off the call. This is super valuable. This is really helpful, man. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Cool.
I guess as far as like building the actual course, once you guys had your offer, how long did it take you to put the course together?
About 3 months total, and we started really. What we did is like we did a month wait, and then we released week one, and then every week we would release like a module. And then it was like different modules of the actual player accelerator. Then we released the bonuses. So basically, we took 3 months to build the whole thing. After 1 month of the pre-launch, we knew it would work. And as soon as we pre-launched, it started doing well. So we started building the course at the same time. And so at the end of month one, 4 weeks in, we launched the first like little bit of the module. And then every week we would launch new stuff until we'd basically launched the whole thing and
Hmm.
added the whole thing. After I think about 2 to 4 weeks, we had the whole like core player accelerator, which is like the main course. And then the following month was just the bonuses being slowly released.
Hmm. Okay.
That's a rough
And then,
timeline. So people only had to wait like 4 weeks really from if they
okay.
bought on the initial launch, they only had to wait 4 weeks before they saw something. And even then, they got a community. They got like calls with Harris in the meantime. Like you can get around it, right? Just offer, for those 4 weeks they're waiting, 6 weeks they're waiting. They get 2 calls a week with you or something, right? Where they can personally ask you questions. It's a much smaller cohort, and you're going to be like answering their questions live on there because it's a smaller cohort. Like
Hmm.
they'll be super happy with that. It's more valuable than the course they're going to get.
Wow, that's cool. Okay. Yeah,
And
I've
that
had it in
just
my
offsets
head.
the whole thing of like, oh, they're not going to get the course. Well, okay, just go live with them, have like speak with them, ask them what they want, build it just for them. Like they'll love it. If once they
Mm,
bought from you, like especially off of organic, they already know like trust you.
hmm. Okay. And then have you guys updated the course or changed it much at all since
Yeah,
initially
we
building
add
it?
stuff. We add stuff.
Okay.
We made some variations, made it look better. For sure. I think it's always important to do that, to add new stuff. We've even added stuff they didn't pay for. We just give them because they like to be a part of the community. It helps decrease refund rates. But yeah, we've definitely added stuff. I think it's always good to be updating and adding stuff to the course every like couple months at least.
Hmm. Okay. What do you think is the ultimate potential of my channel within my niche? I know you don't know climbing super deeply, but I have a hard time believing I could ever reach as many people as Harris is because, football is like the biggest sport in the world. But
Well,
yeah,
in
well,
terms
like
of pure
what are
numbers,
what are like reasonable goals to have as far as like YouTube and Instagram growth and things like that?
well, I mean, we could even sit down and look at like just asking like ChatGPT, what is the total addressable market, of something like that. So let me search it up here, for example. Um, so let's say we're targeting like 25 to 45-year old, right? How many 25 to 45-year old English speaking people are heavily interested enough in rock climbing to buy a course? And honestly, your total addressable market is bigger than that because like they maybe you can get them interested enough to buy a course. But like this is one way that I'm going to show you now. Second way is like, what's the biggest channel in your niche?
Lattice training is a big one that's like training specific and giving advice, and then there's some bigger climbing
How many
channels that
subscribers?
I don't know, I have to look. Let's see. Almost 200K, 190K.
Yeah. So like there's big potential there. That's just subscribers. Imagine all the people that like their most viewed videos. How many people are there, right?
Mm,
For example,
yeah,
ChatGPT
600K,
just
500K. Yeah.
yeah, like there's a lot of people, man. Like you have hundreds of thousands of people. If you just capture a tiny percentage of that, if like 1,000 of those people buy your program, that's $200,000, $300,000 that you can make. Um, in the US, there's 5.6 million indoor climbers.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like, and
Yeah.
you think like how many of those 25 to 45 do you think have ever opened YouTube in their life?
Right.
A lot of
Mo
them, a
Most,
lot
yeah.
of them. But yeah, 5.6 million is the estimate. And let's say like likely to purchase a course, 10% of that, that's still 500,000 people. You know what I mean?
Wow. Yeah.
Out there, just in the US alone. And then there's still all the other English speaking countries. So there's a lot more people out there than you think. And even if it's just your audience, man, you got 20,000 people on here, 9,000 people watch this. Like, if you post a bunch of these, like, and you consistently get 9,000 people watching, like, we can get 100 of them to buy your program. That's $30,000. Boom. First
Hmm.
month of launch. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Not unreasonable at all with how many subscribers you have.
What is the ZHT program done over time? Like, has it been harder to sell or easier to sell over time? Like, have you tapped your audience as far as marketing this course goes, or?
No, because it just grows and then you can do sales. So,
Hmm.
the audience just keeps growing because you keep putting out content and it keeps like you keep tapping into new people and new people start climbing or new people start playing soccer and new people come in and you can do different sales to like, liquidate the rest of the audience. You build that email list, you keep nurturing, educating people. You take people who are like somewhat interested, then maybe they start watching your channel, they become more interested, and you get them to a point where now there's someone who would actually buy a course on this, and then you convert them, you know what I mean? And then they tell their friend about it and they start down that funnel. So it just becomes this whole thing and it just keeps
Hmm.
growing because there's millions of people in that market, tens of millions, hundreds of millions of kids in
Yeah.
that market, right? So
Yeah.
even in yours
Okay.
with millions, like there's also huge potential.
So as you've seen from my channel, one thing I used to do a lot is like share the best clips from, a 2 hour podcast interview on the YouTube channel in like 8 minutes, B-roll, all that stuff. I was thinking moving forward, I want to be face to camera, being a coach, being a thought leader. But these are pretty easy videos to do. They're pretty easy videos to outsource. So I can have someone else edit them, like pulling clips from the podcast. And then I would just drop like a 30-second ad in the middle of the video, pointing people to the masterclass.
You could do that, but I would alternate it with stuff like this. And it's
Yeah.
worth doing this because this will make you a lot of money, man. You make videos like this, a lot of them, and you have a solid funnel and a solid offer, like you'll make a lot of money.
Okay.
And you'd never have to worry about doing podcast stuff again, which is what I'm saying. Like you could do that right now if you wanted to.
Cool. Okay.
Yeah. Is that helpful?
Super helpful. Yeah, super
Awesome,
helpful.
dude.